Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning, and major developments across the board on both your state and your federal level. Second stimulus in the CR is being pushed with a new $1,200 stimulus check and eviction moratorium by both Republicans and Democrats. Thank goodness. They've stepped up in the last 24 to 48 hours and said, where the hell is the stimulus check? You need a $1,200 stimulus check in here. Everything that's in here is a big bailout of business. And business doesn't need any other bailouts, analysts are saying. You need the stimulus check, the fastest thing you would get during the holiday. And you need an eviction moratorium. Meantime, where's that $2,400 going to land if you're on SSI and SSDI? And how about hazard pay? Where's that going to be? And what about the $600 a week FPUC retroactive for 20 weeks? Where's that going to be? Meantime, is your UI and PUA going to get extended? Because that's about to expire in just a few days. But the real shocking news, if you did not catch it, was Purple Power Live last night, in which we learned Michigan, Arizona, Mississippi, Alabama, Montana, and more states are paying rent grants, even though you may not see it in the city and state coffers or state housing authorities. So where are the viewers getting all this massive rent grants in all of these states? Meantime, other states are stepping forward with $1,200 stimulus checks, free rent stimulus, free food stimulus, free utility stimulus, and more. Major developments are expected this week in addition to new state extended weeks of benefits that are being announced in the last few hours. Everything's developing very quickly. Everyone's trying to step up and help you. It's just hoping that they help their hairstyle as well. It's a Sunday morning, and I'm so glad you're here. Hope you got enough sleep after going to the casino last night. And this is Sunday Morning's LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and thank you for joining me for Sunday's Morning's LALATE. With the shocking developments that are all great news across the board about your stimulus check on a federal level, your state stimulus check on a state level, and then all these new benefits, whether it's the extension of PUA and UI, or extended weeks of UI on a state level that are being announced. Meantime, stimulus checks coming from your state, yes, and a lot of other benefits. What's important to understand is that you subscribe to this channel, because last night was a testament not just to me, but to you. On Purple Power Live last night, the very last show, every day on this channel, I go over CARES Act 1 money. And boy, if you did not watch that broadcast, no less than 1,000 viewers jumped in and started volunteering how you can get a rent grant in states which we thought there was no rent grant. Montana, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Michigan. It just kept on rolling and rolling and rolling. And this came on top of the news of new state grants coming out today, tomorrow, and all this next week. New York, Georgia, Arizona, New Mexico. And on top of states of extending weeks of benefits, Hawaii, they're trying to step up to help you. What's important to understand is when you subscribe to this channel, you become part of a community where I not only share the information, but the viewers share with one another and help one another. That's the spirit of this channel, helping one another get money right now. Not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, but thousands and thousands of dollars, and I don't mean $300. I mean $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, as much as $20,000 overnight. So please subscribe. Also like this video. We're ranking number 1 today for a reason. We do the best information there is out there, and we're here to get you to the finish line. In this video, I have a lot to go over. First, the CR, the Congressional Budget Bill, that $1,200 stimulus check, I'll cover that. Then eviction moratorium. Then I'll go over all your questions about the UI and PUA extension under the CR, the Congressional Budget Bill. Then I'll focus to what's happening in January. January will be the other items, multiple stimulus checks, FPUC $600 a week, retroactive for 30 weeks, hazard pay, $2,400 for SSI and SSDI. I'll cover all that. Next, after that, I will go back to what's happening now. State stimulus checks going out, $1,200, yes. Then I'll focus on states also giving other free things, like free stimulus, like rent stimulus, food stimulus. And in states in which we thought there was nothing left, we were told there was nothing left, and now they suddenly have found hundreds of millions of dollars. Isn't that the nicest thing? When you sort of just find a couple hundred millions of dollars out of nowhere? I don't know how they're doing it. Then I'll be turning to states in which they haven't announced anything from their state, but the Purple Power viewers found the rent. So what's going on? How are viewers finding tens of thousands of dollars of rent in states in which they have not even announced anything? It's all really exciting. I'm so excited for you. And with that, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that the congressional movement for a second stimulus check of $1,200 in what's called the continuing resolution or the budget bill or the CR is really heating up. In the last 48 hours, Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate, have stepped forward and say, who wrote this junk bill? Well, it's not a bill, it's a proposal. But who wrote this junk proposal? There's no $1,200 stimulus check in there. The arguments are a little bit more robust than the fact that it's missing. The arguments they're making, which are the arguments I have made, is that a stimulus check is needed because millions of Americans, the only type of stimulus relief they would get is a stimulus check because they were not employed at the time of the pandemic hit, so they aren't getting unemployment benefits. And two, that even when we're talking about unemployment benefits in this proposal, those may not get actually into your physical hand until January. It takes a while for the money to go from the federal government to the state to then you. Stimulus checks, 10 days. 10 days. So this budget bill needs to be done by December 11th. Now, it doesn't get done on December 11th. It effectively is agreed upon by December 8th, which is Tuesday. And then when it becomes law and signed into law on December 11th, which is the deadline, otherwise the federal government shuts down, then the stimulus checks would go out about that day, and 10 days thereafter you would have the check. December 21st, presuming it's not a holiday or weekend, and that's the fastest relief. That's why 150 economists last week said do a stimulus check during this lame duck session of December, because that's the only relief that millions of Americans will get very quickly. Nothing else will come to them. Also missing is an eviction moratorium, which I have called inhumane. Tom and Jerry, the organizers of from New Jersey and New York of the Problem Creators Caucus, thought that it's fine for you to be thrown out on the street on January 1st with no money and to be evicted because there's no eviction moratorium. Thought it's fine not to have an eviction moratorium. You know why it's fine? Because we're going to give $2 million to restaurant owners, again, who have gotten millions and millions of dollars before, because they're more important than you being on the street. But just don't block my driveway when I'm pulling out of the mansion. That's really just not really in touch with what millions of Americans need. And that's why Bernie Sanders, AOC, Senator Josh Hawley, who's a Republican, and Joe Biden came out on Saturday, Friday and said, what's going on here? Stimulus check and eviction moratorium. You need it. I'll just summarize it as simple as that. They all came out and said, I'm not supporting it unless there's a $1,200 stimulus check and eviction moratorium. It also needs a mortgage forbearance. And then what may be confusing to some viewers is that a mortgage forbearance was announced to be extended to January at the end of last week. But that's only for mortgages backed by the federal government. So if you have a private mortgage, you do not have protection and you could be foreclosed upon on January 1st. Bottom line is that as we go into Monday, Republicans and Democrats, senators and House members are not agreeing on the mere proposals or memos. There is no bill because there is no $1,200 stimulus check, demanding a $1,200 stimulus check and demanding eviction moratorium. And you need to demand the same as well. Go on social media and tag the problem creators. Tag the people who have caused problems in this discussion, Charles Manson and Mitt Romney, who authored the bill, they need to know that it is inhumane to not include a stimulus check and an eviction moratorium. And then tag the people who are your supporters or who are undecided. Mitch McConnell, the undecided group, Mitch McConnell and his press secretary and his communications director, and then Nancy Pelosi's communications director. And what about her? What's going on? She's apparently told to zip it because she was going to talk about how she was going to change the proposals. She's not changing it. Joe Biden has clearly told her to zip it. And then tag your supporters, Biden-Harris, the Biden-Harris transition team, and then AOC and Sanders. The other really interesting factor is that Biden said that he has spoken extensively with Senator Harris just before he announced the $1,200 just-in negotiation statement. The reason why that's important is because Senator Harris is the single most important voice to get you multiple stimulus checks. She and Sanders both authored the bill $2,000 a month for 6 months until the pandemic ends or unemployment goes down. And, if you recall correctly, she also authored a standalone bill to protect against eviction moratoriums. She's the voice working behind the scenes, so also tag her as well. So let's get to MSC. Let's get to multiple stimulus checks. Will there be multiple stimulus checks? And how about that $2,400 for SSI and FPUC? Let me cover all that right now. In January, the third stimulus package, because what we were just talking about is now sensibly the second, the third stimulus package will include everything and the kitchen sink that has not been done. And this is what Joe Biden is representing and promising to you. He's promising multiple stimulus checks as needed until the pandemic's gone. The amount and the details we don't know. He's promising FPUC retroactive back to August. We do know the amount. He's saying he's going to fight for $600 a week. I don't know if he'll get it, but that's what he's going to fight for. Next, EIDL grant for people who never got it before. EIDL grant, new ones for people who want to apply for it. Then, food grant, rent grant, CDC grant, and potentially the Lifeline grant of $50,000. Meantime, the $2,400 for SSI and SSDI, where would that land? I'm predicting it's going to be a standalone bill. It's going to be a standalone bill because the Republicans and Democrats have always called for a standalone bill to fix benefits. It'll have 3 provisions in it. The 3 provisions detailed by Biden are the following. A $200 check every month until December 31st of next year because of the pandemic. This is a pandemic relief. $2,400, bam, in your account. Then a lifetime step up of at least 20% that would kick in right away. People have asked me, when would that start? It would kick in with the bill. It would raise your benefits immediately. Next, a new benchmark that would track your benefits annually that would raise them on an annual basis. All really great news. So again, I'm predicting that's going to be a standalone bill in January, not part of the second stimulus package. And a lot more. It's too hard to keep track of, and hazard pay, of course. Hazard pay would be in the second stimulus package. I knew I was something else forgetting there. So then, the real exciting news that no one saw coming, and I didn't even see coming, is what states are doing for you and now private organizations. I'm going to cover both of them starting right now. This is free stimulus money. And I think you sort of are on page with me because last night Purple Power was on fire. If you did not watch Purple Power Live and you're looking for free state stimulus, please rewatch that broadcast. It really starts to heat up about the 5-minute mark, 10-minute mark. This is what we found out from Purple Power Live. Last night we learned that in Montana, Mississippi, Kentucky, Alabama, and Missouri, Arizona, and states like that, where you may have looked for your city, your state, and your county for a rent stimulus check, and were found there was nothing from your city, state, or county, viewers have now stepped forward and said, well, they're private religious or private national well-known organizations that are paying rent. In this state, Montana, this organization paid the rent. In this state, Arizona, this organization paid the rent. In this state, Mississippi, this organization paid the rent. This is basically what happened on Purple Power Live last night. Viewers came forward and said, I got rent in Montana, Missouri, and Mississippi, and Arizona. This is where I got rent grants from. Free stimulus free rent. Not from the city, not from the county, not from the state. This is places where the city and county and state did not have it. So the bottom line is that if you are looking for rent, do not drop in the comments, and unless you want to have them just deleted, there's nothing ever in my state, because it's absolutely untrue. People are getting thousands and thousands of dollars, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in Montana, Arizona, and Mississippi, Alabama, Missouri, because they absolutely followed the path of this channel and found it based upon the information I'm telling them from private, national, religious, or nonprofit organizations. But there's even more good news on top of that. New York, New Mexico, and Houston, and many of the major counties of Georgia will or are going live on new rent stimulus. So whereas New York State, every time I say this I crack up because I just can't keep a straight face about this. New York State sat back and said, we're going bankrupt, we're going bankrupt, we're going bankrupt. Nancy Pelosi, bail us out for the next 3 years, we're going bankrupt. We already did rent in July, we're going bankrupt, we're going bankrupt. Guess what? New York State suddenly found hundreds of millions of billions of dollars sitting around somewhere from the place in which they were going bankrupt, and are now saying, on Monday we're going live with a rent stimulus package statewide. Now, there's New York City, which people thought there was nothing. New York City now has a rent stimulus package. Houston, which had closed theirs out, has now launched one. San Diego County, which had closed theirs out, has opened one as well. It just keeps on snowballing. And then there's stimulus checks. States are now sending out stimulus checks. Some are sending out $1,200 stimulus checks. Some are sending out $375 stimulus checks. And then there's utilities. I gotta make this very clear. In nearly 99.99% of all states, they're paying utilities. So never give up on utilities. Utilities are literally being paid everywhere, whether it's the state, city, county, or the private organization. You call the city hall, you call the county hall, you call the state housing authority. Again, city, county, state housing authority, city housing authority, and then call all the utilities. And if you exhausted that, then these privates are doing incredible jobs. Really exciting. Finally, the states aren't done with that. They're also giving you something else. God bless them. And these are states, I got to say, despite everything you've been told over the last 6 months, these states that are helping you are both blue and red states. There is nothing political about the issue of help. They're all stepping forward in the spirit of the purple power, and they're helping you despite whether they're run by a Republican or a Democrat. They're all helping you. This is the last thing, and this is one of the most important ones, which is states give you a certain number of UI, unemployment weeks per claim. Unemployment weeks per claim, let's say 10 weeks. The federal government gave you FPUC, which gave you additional weeks of unemployment benefits. States are now stepping up and saying, you know what? I don't know if Congress is going to get it together. My citizens are running out of weeks, or have run out of weeks, or will run out of weeks in just a few days. We're going to give you what's called extended state benefits. We're going to give you additional weeks of unemployment benefits to carry you to March, February, April. And so states like Hawaii have announced them. More states, and this is my prediction, more states are going to come forward in the next few days if Congress falls apart by Tuesday, which I don't think they are. But more states are going to come forward and give you additional extended weeks of benefits. Finally, escalated benefits and EIDL, the other ways you can get big free money. Escalated benefits is where you try to raise your benefits from where you're currently being paid on unemployment or were paid on unemployment. You need to understand the two things, because I get these questions a lot. One, it's in every single state. Two, you don't call it escalated benefits. That's the word you and I use. You just say raise your weekly benefits. Use simple words. Three, EIDL, SBA.gov. Please go get it now. I think it's going to get closed around December 15th, meaning you have to have the funds in your hand received by then. Get it on file if you want to do it. Meantime, the programming notes for today. If you have questions about CARES Act 1 money, rent stimulus, food stimulus, stimulus checks from your state, all that and more, watch Purple at 4 o'clock on Afternoons LA. That is now the new big state stimulus show. And then if you have questions about it, watch Purple Power Live, which is about 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time every night, the last show of the day. If you have questions about UI, PUA, FPUC, how to do it, how to raise it, how to go retroactive, what is Biden going to do, is it going to be retroactive, tune in to Being a Mitch. That is now the live show that covers unemployment questions. And finally, Holidays LALATE, if I'm able to tape it today, which I think I can, on Holidays LALATE, that is now the live broadcast that gives you the update on the national stimulus check. If you have questions or more, drop them in the comments below and I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Also like and share this video and make sure you subscribe. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay with LA for more.